Welcome, beautiful souls. I am Marcia C, and welcome to another episode of Her Sacred Soul Space. I am here with my beautiful soul sister and co-host, Yolande. Wagwan, Yolande.
Wagwan, Marcia.
Can you believe we are in May? It's like almost half of the year already. Welcome to May, everyone, and I pray that May brings you joy and lots of love and blessing. And for May, we always celebrate Mother's Day. So if you are watching this episode before Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to you. And if you happen to be viewing after Mother's Day, I hope you had a splendid Mother's Day, because that's exactly what you deserve, okay? Another thing that we're celebrating for the month of May is mental health awareness. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. And that's exactly what we're going to tap into for this episode. And so we hope that you join us. And I hope that you'll be able to find some form of gem from this episode that you can apply to your life or even to share with someone else, all right? Here at Her Sacred Soul Space, we have to center before we go dive deep into conversation. And how we're going to do that is by taking three deep breaths. And the intention behind these breaths is for those who are going through mental health at this moment, those who may have been diagnosed, or those who not quite sure what's happening, but we just know that something is off. And so we're just going to hold space for you, especially just for you. And in a way of letting you know that you're not alone, okay? So on our first breath, we are just going to release and clear. So let's take a deep breath in. And we are breathing and releasing everything that is not suited for us at this moment. And on our second breath, this is where we're setting the intention of holding space for those beautiful souls that are going through a mental health condition at this time, and just send them love and light and healing vibration as we exhale. And on our third breath, we are going to see that frequency of love and light and healing vibration. We're going to see it being wrapped around those individuals that are in need of it at this moment right now. So let's do a deep breath. And as we exhale, we imagine them being embraced with our love and our peace and our light. Yeah. I hope you felt that, beautiful soul seekers. Our intention was absolutely pure. Pure. Wow. You feel the shift. I don't know. You just feel the shift. Okay. We are so here for you. So mental health awareness. And we just want to tap into some of the things that somewhat tangible or action item wise, I should say, in a way, and things that can also affect our mental health that is not so tangible, that you don't really contribute to. And so let's just dive right into it. And one of the first things, Yolande, that you mentioned to me last week or so, before we even realized it was Mental Health Awareness Month, and we figured, hey, this would be appropriate for us to just tap into this and put it all together, is the effect social media have on our lives, right? And we both know that in everything you do, there's a positive and a negative. And we both know that social media have made such a huge difference in our lives in such a way where it's a way of us communicating with each other. We get to see people we haven't seen in years, whether it's from high school, primary school, basic school, depending on where you grew up, right? And also you get to learn some things, even in our adult stage, that we didn't know. Some little tricks that you could do around the house that makes things even much easier. So it's, fun to learn. But at the same time, there is a twist. There's another side. It also can affect our psyche, how we view ourselves, how we may see life and want to
There.
compare us to others. And
Right.
that is where it can affect our mental health, right? So
Absolutely.
let's just share little things that we may know or have experienced within ourselves or even with you from clients as well, Yolan, that you think is vital for us to be aware of and to kind of keep in the back of our mind so we don't
Yeah.
overly indulge. Let me know your thoughts on this, Yolan. What are your thoughts?
Well, the social media things is one of the things I've been observing for a while and observing myself in this space as well, and noticing how people respond in this space. Never before have we seen, social media came along. Wow, it's Facebook. Oh my gosh. I think I was pregnant with Cadence when I first joined Facebook. So Cadence is 14 now.
Yeah. Yes.
She's
Yes.
14 now. So about 14 years ago, I entered the social media space. And at first it was funny meeting everybody, like you said. Oh my gosh, look who's on here, right? We're discovering old friends we haven't seen or spoken to in years, old acquaintances, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then as it develops and moves on, then you start meeting friends of friends and this, that, and the other. Then I know I did business in the space and still kind of do. So it's useful for a lot of things. And at the same time, one of the things I noticed was people started using this space and treating it as if the people on your timeline are your real friends.
Yeah.
I would witness people at times oversharing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
saw it as that's somebody reaching out for maybe a friendship they don't.
Right.
And while it might feel safe, is it really? Is it really a
Listen.
whole for
Right.
us to open ourselves up this way
Yeah.
to people
Yeah.
that we are just acquaintances at
Right.
times? And then and then the other thing where people would get comments, right? As people are free to say what they want to say in space. And then you may put up a post and then somebody's comment could be triggering. So there were those things as well. And for younger people, well, it's not just a young people thing. It's
Mm.
anybody seeking
Anybody.
approval.
See,
I noticed
yes.
that
Yeah.
some things were intended. People are looking for approval. You know,
Yes.
sometimes some posts look like somebody, even though they were wearing a smile or they were showing a lot, it was really a cry for help. You would discover later on, right,
Yes.
that
Yes.
when situations arose, that oh my gosh, that was a cry
A
for
cry
help.
for help. Yeah.
No, at that time,
Yeah.
you know, living for the gram, as they say, has become a thing, and living for
For
likes.
lights.
People putting up a post and going back to check. I wonder how many people liked it. Da da da
Yeah.
da da. And I had to check in with myself.
I was
But
going to say that too because all right, so once it the benefits we just kind of talked about, but once again, it's also designed to be addictive. So once you put like you said, you put the post up, you want to
yeah,
go back to see whether or not you have a like or not, or whether or not it resonated with someone. And so for me, even when I put up stuff for the podcast, because I'm not really a social media guru. Listen,
right,
I'm just even learning. So soul seekers out there, please don't laugh at me if you see me do some crazy stuff because I really am still just learning. And so even when I put stuff out for the podcast, because I want to reach the mass in such a way and I want to have an impact on your life or just to be the vessel that, God is using me to be. And so I would go back to see if anybody liked it or did it resonate. And if there's a post that gets way more likes than another post, I'm wondering now why. Did I not phrase it right? Did I not hit their heart space right enough? That's what I'm thinking. So I can just imagine when others are just putting up for
yeah,
clout or just cause,
right,
right? How impactful it is or how it hits you in a way when you don't receive the likes, the amount of
right,
likes. And then you start comparing to other friends or even
Right.
people that you don't know, like you said, that you think are friends in that
That you
space.
take our friends.
Do you
Yeah.
think are friends?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that I think people have started to like I said, overshare
Yeah.
and do too much.
Yeah.
And some of it is just fun. And I've been on both sides of it. But I just started to notice. And as I was noticing, I started to pull back. If you're not a Marsha in my close circle, I feel that there are some things that should be for a certain group of people.
Yes.
And I think when we open ourselves to some people who don't even know us well, you know what I mean? And then, what are we seeking there?
Mhm.
And it's not conscious. The part, Marsha, is that it's not conscious behavior
Mhm.
that people aren't aware that how they are seeking approval from other people and seeking likes from other people. And I'm not saying, we are by no means saying that is the case all the time,
Right.
but check in with yourself. Why? Okay, it's your birthday and you say it's your birthday. That's cool. But check in why you need to share where you go with everyone.
Mhm.
Why? Because how were we living before social media,
Listen, right?
right?
Yeah.
Why do we need to do that? Why do people need to know that we went to wherever? You know,
Mhm.
we took a trip. And while it is fun to share, like I limit my shares. Some of I put privacy on certain things. Certain things are only for friends.
Yes.
And some of my posts are public, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I started being more selective in how I share. But it is a very insidious trap. It uses it can take a lot of your time if you're not paying attention. You can waste a lot of time scrolling, right?
Oh,
And not doing what is really important to do,
been
right?
guilty. Listen,
Right?
I have
It's
been
very
guilty.
insidious.
Yes. Or when that little I don't know, well, I have an iPhone, so it tells me how many the screen time
Oh,
screen
nice.
time. And
Yeah.
if I look at it outside of my watching a series or something on Netflix because I want some downtime for me. And okay, that's fine. But if it's something where I see, dude, you were scrolling for no reason, just
For
scrolling
no
for
reason.
no reason,
I've
just
caught
scrolling.
myself just
Yeah.
doing this and
For
then
no
getting
reason.
up and then clicking it again. I'm
Yes,
like,
yes, yeah, yes. And
stop it.
oftentimes when I scroll, I look for potential guests. I look for sisters who are out there who are trying to help others, other women.
Yeah.
And yeah, outside of the scrolling, I mean, including scrolling, probably I'm finding four and I'm still scrolling,
Still
which means
scrolling.
that my ultimate reason behind going on social media was to find potential guests for podcasts.
And
And
then you got
then
more.
I got lost. I got lost and get caught up in crazy
Yeah.
isms, right? And
Yeah.
mind you, there's sometimes I laugh and I realize there's some that I just quickly go over because I said, no, I don't want this energy to
You
resonate in
don't
my
want that
spirit.
energy. Yes.
Right. And so I would like to
Exactly.
say this too. It is important for us to be careful as to what we call within our spirit, what we absorb, especially if there's a void, because
That
that thing is going to find the void and it's going to fill the void. And that thing can be social media. Now, that when it fills the void, that's how it affects you in the way it does mentally. If you don't feel as if it's serving you the way you thought it would have served you, you start encountering the FOMO with the fear of missing out type of anxiety or behavior, and then you find yourself more lost than when you started out
yeah. Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
emptiness has expanded and what you thought was filling it is not filling it. And
Yeah.
I just want to say, so be careful as to what you're absorbing. It could be even the music that you listen to, because we all know about sound frequency, and some of those
That's a
sound
real thing.
frequencies will shift who you are mentally as well. So be
Yeah.
careful as to what you're calling
What
into
you're
your
putting out
psychic
there.
field, into your quantum field, into your
Yeah.
space, into your presence. You know, that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that's when we talk about social media affecting mental health, um, sometimes for some people it's comparison, right? So somebody puts up a post, right? And they're showing, I don't know, let's use the trip for example. They're on a trip and they're having this great time. And now it makes you feel less than, right? Like check it with yourself because they're not doing that. You're doing that to you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, call it envy, call it jealousy, whatever. But if that affects your state, if when you look at somebody on a trip, it doesn't be, oh, wow, that's such a nice trip. And it becomes something that you don't have. It's affecting your mental health. It's affecting your mental health. A healthy mind would say, oh, wow, they went on a trip. How fun. It looks like it was fun. But if it starts becoming something internally like, man, when am I ever going to be able to do that? I can't do that. And you start becoming dissatisfied with yourself, dissatisfied with your life, then social media or that post or something is of, hey, you need to check in with you. You need to check in with you to see what's going on with you. I'm just trying to make little things that you should notice. If somebody does something and then because they did that or because you saw a post, it makes you feel that you should also do the same. Check in with yourself. Check in with yourself.
You gotta
Why am
find
I
your
feeling like I
identity.
need to be a follower?
Yeah, you
Why
gotta
do I
find
feel
your
like I also need to put something out there?
yes.
I watched, right, how we went from its first day of school, and that is something to celebrate, right? The first day of school thing. And it started with what I'm sure it started with one person, and then all of a sudden it was like, first day of school post. Everybody needed to share, right? And then it was grades. And I watched parents living on social media through their children.
Mhm.
Oh, my child had all A's this. And how does that affect the price of sugar?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
And
that post is not for the child. Because most people aren't posting and going, oh, little Timmy, come, let me show you, right? It's not Timmy's birthday, but we're
yeah.
posting Timmy's grade because what it does is it says I'm a great parent,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yes.
And we get gratification from hearing other parents say, oh, good job, good job. And these are, like I was saying, it's subtle, but it's
Mhm.
insidious,
Yeah.
very subtle. How we get caught up into it and seeking approval from others. There's a very fine line between sharing and seeking approval. And if
Yes.
we don't check in, we end up doing that. Now, the long term effect
Mhm.
is where we're getting to with the mental health
Yes.
is that because it's insidious, is you now start living for other people's approval on social media. So all your posts go from celebrating to the intention of showing something, showing a version that you want people to see, being perceived a certain way, and all of. And
Yeah.
now they're in your head.
Because you
Now
don't
what
know who you
people see
are.
matter, and you don't even know who you are because
Yeah.
you're living for them. So
Yeah.
as for me, I can't speak for everybody, but I started pulling back on posts, personal posts, because I feel that I need to create a separation between my personal life and my social life, my social media life. And so
Mm.
I started pulling certain things back and just checking in with myself. What is this post supposed to yield? Am I sharing it just to celebrate? Am I seeking
Good.
approval here?
Yeah, that's good.
Because if I'm living for anybody else, I'm not living for me,
Yep.
right? So I'm very selective, and sometimes I'll take pictures and never share them.
Me too.
But I
Me
capture
too.
moments because I want
Yes.
it for me.
Yes.
I
Yes.
don't take the pictures for social media,
Right.
right?
Right.
And if we don't start getting a hang of that, we just become people who are living for everybody else
Living for
and
everybody
living
else.
for
Yeah.
seeking other people's approval so subtly
Yeah.
without recognizing it. So
Yes.
yeah, that
It's
part.
like to me, when you say living for everybody else, it's kind of like bring back the rat race concept in society, of which, you know, um, you're taught, you go to school, you get a degree, then you go there, you try to hustle bustle to try to get a good job. And it's like a cycle just keep going around like that. Now social media slides in and it's the same thing. It's a cycle. Like maybe if I put something else, or maybe if I participate in one of the challenges, or if I do such and such,
Oh,
then
I hate
I would
challenges.
I will be seen even more, and or
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it all goes back, like you said, to that emptiness. And it also to that, how are you seeing yourself? And
Yeah.
like I used to say, or even share with people who come to me certain things, one of the things I ask when I listen to them, I hear certain things. I say, so
Yeah.
whose energy are you carrying? Yeah.
Right.
Whose energy are you carrying? And it's
Right.
the same thing here when to be careful with your mental health, especially pertaining to social media. Whose energy are you
Are you
carrying?
carrying?
What makes you think this is where you're supposed to be and you have to do this? How is it
Right.
serving your soul? How is it
Right.
expanding you? That's the important thing for me
Yeah.
to dive in. And I want to also just um, drop some of the things that I found as to how we can kind of balance it out. Some of the things they state that you can do is to try to charge your phone away from you so you don't have such easy access to it. They even talked about putting the social media apps like in a folder that is will take you much time to go in the folder and then find the app. I'm not quite sure if that part will work, because if you were addicted and determined, you will go in that folder.
Just go to the
Eventually,
folder.
you're going to take it back out real quickly, take it back out real quickly. Um,
Social media fast. And social media fast. I've heard people doing that one.
yes, 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 yes. And we know Nat have done the fast before where
Yes,
she has
yes.
stayed off
And
and
she has done the
Kia,
fast
yes,
a couple
yes,
of times.
and had such great experience with that
Yeah.
as well. Um, and so also just recognize, setting up kind of like schedule or time frame, seeing it as just like how you organize your life, especially if you have your own business, everything's on your calendar. You put your little
Yeah.
hours. My downtime for social media is from 1 to 2 or whatever it
Yeah.
is. This way we don't get so caught up in the scrolling aspect that we negate our duties to our individual selves, to our own selves, as well as to our families, and even to those who are out there that are still waiting on our voice to help them heal, you know?
Right. Right. Right.
Um,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that's just very, very much very important for us. Um, so and another thing, what it's not like covetousness. If we want that life so badly, based on what we see others put out there, what makes you think that once we have it, that you're gonna be complete? What makes you think that it's going to serve you or
Right.
fulfill that void within, or whatever it is that you think you're missing out on and need to be a
Right.
part of it? What makes you think that that's you? Because we're called for different things. So that's very important when you're out there trying to be someone else. How do you know that you're built to become
For
that?
that.
For that.
For
That's
that.
important.
Yeah.
A lot of gems on this episode.
Yeah. A lot of and you know, I don't want to be clear that we're not buzz killers and we're not
Oh,
joy killers, because
no.
everybody isn't doing this for that. We're human beings and we wave through a variety of emotions even in one day.
Mhm.
And a post you make in the morning can carry a whole different energy from your post at noon and from your post at night. You
Yes.
know, so all we're saying is bring the joy, bring the fun, have a blast, enjoy your life, but be aware.
Yes.
Be aware. Be aware. Check in with yourself. How much is social media stopping you from spending time with you?
Mhm.
How much is your time? How much time are you giving to social media and the thoughts of others, the ideas of others, and not enough to your own thoughts? Where are you using social media to not feel? Where are you using social media to not feel, to
Mhm.
not sit with yourself and deal
Mm.
with what's coming up for you?
To
How is it
not
an escape?
feel. Oh,
Those are the things we're talking about when we talk about mental health,
yeah.
because never before have we seen suicides as much as we're seeing it now.
Mhm.
Young people, I mean, teenagers, a lot of teenagers are offing themselves,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of them are affected by, well, people don't like me because they don't have enough likes on their Snapchat,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or whatever, wherever it is they're
Word do they
talking,
use? Yeah. Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And people aren't responding and they become depressed. can
Yeah.
become down and depressed because it means people don't like me. Or one person gave this little comment and it rattles their whole day,
Mhm.
you know? And we have to start retraining our minds to stop looking for our sense of self externally and spend time with ourselves. Only way we're gonna not correct the mental health debacle that we're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a real thing,
It's a real thing. And
and
it's not,
it's not lost on me that there seems to be a crescendo to this thing with the arrival of social media.
and I also want to say it's not just when we're talking and encouraging the healing, it's not just for you, it's for everybody. Because once you're healed and you go on others, your vibration will flow differently.
Yeah,
And not only that, you will respond differently to the pressures of life. Here in Atlanta, we experienced, was it last week, the shootout in Midtown,
yeah,
downtown?
in
Yeah.
Midtown.
And this was at a clinic, I believe. So you can imagine you leave your home to go to a health space to place to get, looked after, medical done, whatever, tested, whatever you go there for. And that is your last time here on this planet because there was a shootout, because someone who's experiencing a mental health breakdown happened to bring a gun with them to the medical
The
facility
facility.
and just decide, and just not say decide, just have a reaction. Because I can't speak, have a reaction, you know? And someone lost their mom, their wife, their coworker, their friend. And so the things that we're saying, like Yolande said, it's not to put it down, it's just out of concern because each one has to reach another and help each other out. And so if you limit certain things, or if you know of someone going through and say, hey, what do you think about limits in your social media intake? Um, maybe it can shift. You never know. We're just talking about things that you can try because everybody's
Right.
different, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I want to shift the direction a little bit. So now social media is more tangible or action oriented because you have to post or you have to scroll, you have to use your hands. And I
Right.
want to talk, let's talk about something that you have no control over. Matter of
Right.
fact, when you came on this planet, it was already here and you just had to embrace it. And and I'm talking about the moon. I am
Yeah,
talking
talking about
about
me.
the moon, my soul
Oh,
seekers, her, she, her, all her beauty. And of course, she magnifies everything. She
mhm,
controls a lot. She's just a part of who we are, right?
mhm.
Affects everything from the plant to the animals to our water. I mean, come on now. She
Ocean.
controls the
Yeah,
tide,
water.
back and forth. And we
Are
individually, water,
water.
water, right? So why, just out of curiosity, do you think the moon can affect our mental health? I mean, after
Mhm,
all, she
mhm.
gravitates, or the gravitational pull from the tides and all of that. That means she could do the same thing within us, right?
Yeah,
So one of the things, and when this came about for us to talk about, the moon just resonated in my spirit and my body just shivered. And I knew
yeah.
this was something that we had to talk about, even though we're not astrology. This is not our background, but we do know how to do research to see if it's really truly aligned with the thought that comes to us. And from the research that I've done, I see that there's still researchers out there that are still skeptical, but there are others out there that have kind of like see the correlation between the moon and the behavior that occurs. And I'm referring to the full moon specifically. And this is a deal, right? Whatever it is, okay, during the full moon, what are the things we normally do, Yolande, right? Or for those who are more spiritual, individuals tend to, whether it's the full moon or the pink moon or whatever moon it may be, we want to participate in a ritual. It's a time frame of cleansing, releasing, and
Yeah.
calling back into yourself, your higher self, connecting with your higher self, and manifesting the things that you
Manifest.
want to come to you, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just how powerful the energy of the moon is in that way. Um, so whatever thought frame you're in during the time frame the moon comes about, that's what gets expanded. That's what it would resonate so much more within your spirit. And if you happen to be going through a mental health situation at that time, depressed, anxiety, that will be amplified during the
Right.
full moon. And so we often take that for granted that the full moon affects our behavior. I don't know if you've heard that before, if you even know of anyone that you can say yay or nay, Yolande. I could see that as being true. But for me, I have, because growing up, I had my youngest uncle, my mom's younger brother, had a mental disorder. And every time the full moon comes around, he was erratic. He had erratic behavior. He was, as we would say in Jamaica, get off, get off my head. He's just like went um, crazy in a way. His behavior was not the same whenever it's not the same as if there isn't a full moon, or when there's not a full moon. He literally would sometimes, oftentimes, curse my mom out in such a horrible way, um, that in our neighborhood, anybody, all my friends end up knowing my mom's name just because of my uncle. Because my uncle would call my mom name so much. My mom would try her best. She put him on medication because my mom was a nurse back in Jamaica at that time. And, have medication, but God knows the type of medication that we were getting in the third world country. I said nothing about that. Just leave that alone right there. Just thought that comes to me, like, really. And no matter how comfortable, because my mom even built a little one room in the back of our yard for him, so he have his own space. But when the full moon comes, he's a different individual, a different beast. And having to look in and research and to see whether or not it is indeed something that researchers see is a
Mhm.
part of the problem or associated with. And that's what I'm seeing.
I mean, the word lunatic is a
Hey,
derivative of a
yes,
lunar,
yes,
right? And
yes,
lunar is related to the moon.
yes.
And emergency rooms tend to have more activity during full moons,
Mm-hmm.
right?
A lot of
There's just a lot.
suicides.
The police, yeah, they tend to get a lot more activity. People just acting wonky and crazy
Yeah, yeah.
during that time. So it definitely has an impact on us, whether you are consciously aware of it or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It does. It
Yes,
does.
yes,
If you
yes,
don't notice, start paying attention
yes. Start
to
paying
what
attention.
happens around full moon.
Yes,
Just check in and you will notice that there are some things that tend to crop up even within yourself. Notice the people around you. Notice you even. And I'm not saying everybody goes loony. We're just saying that the energies are heightened at that time.
yes.
And some people can't handle it well. So that's when you get erratic behavior and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
kind of become more of who you are.
And so, what do we do? Like, I guess now I would say include the full moon on your calendar to know when it's coming up, so you can set yourself up and prepare thyself before the full moon. Try to be outside in the sun a lot more to balance out, especially if you're
Mhm.
deficient in vitamin D, just to
Right.
balance out, get some good vibration going. And also you could do some grounding exercises. And during the full moon is also time for creativity. So if you are a creative person, and anxiety come about during that time too, just try to start doing something creative, whether it's painting, writing, drawing, or anything like of that nature, to kind of balance you out and for you
Yeah.
not to be so overwhelmed with the mood that comes forth.
Some people feel extra tired.
Mhm.
If you feel more tired than usual, rest.
Rest.
Give
and you
your body rest.
and utilize aromatherapy.
Aromatherapy.
Yes, because sometimes, like, some are tired, but some haven't are having a hard time sleeping. So either
Yes.
way, that
Yeah.
aromatherapy would help a lot. And if you a few episodes back, we brought on Dr. Jamila Franklin, and she has this oil called Peace Be Still, and this is even so
It's
beautiful.
wonderful.
Yeah, during a time frame like this, helps with anxiety. It's just a matter of rubbing your hands and inhale
The
and exhale
smell.
10 times, and definitely need something like that to help. during the full moon, especially if you're having are
Yes.
prone to mental health breakdown.
It can be as simple as severe stress or overwhelm, just feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you can't handle your emotions. I need a timeout. I just think, yes, that's the mental health stuff going on, sis.
Yeah.
Check in with you.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
what we're talking about. We're not saying something that is diagnosed. We're not even going that far because we
Yes.
can get a handle on it before it gets to something they can diagnose. And so
Yeah.
that's what this conversation is.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we do know when we're overwhelmed. We do know when our plate is full.
Oh.
We do
Mhm.
know if that kid is coming too much. Mommy, mommy, mommy. You be like, give me a minute. I need, like, don't call mommy for the next 10 minutes. Even if there's
Yes.
something like that you do and you just sit in your space with burn your candle and your aromatherapy oil burning and however you choose to,
And just breathe.
we just want you to prepare yourself so that you don't feel like you're losing control, because that's not what we want. Another thing I saw when we were researching that, when I was researching that, I found very enlightening. I never thought about it. They mentioned, especially if an episode is coming about and you're feeling overwhelmed, count the lines of your palm. It's like something to
Oh, really?
distract you. Yes. They say something to distract you. And you could even name them just so that you can focus on something else versus focusing on the fact that, oh my gosh, I feel weird right now and she's coming close to me, or they're looking at me, or blah, 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 whatever it is the anxiety may be, right? So they're saying stuff like that. And of course, step back into your childlike self, do your crazy dances, do your sing out loud. You don't have to sing only in the shower. Just
Right. Right.
embrace, just embrace all of that and just go, like, sing as if no one is watching, because who cares? Because you realize you are releasing, because we have to balance. We have our chakras and we have to balance. And if something is off, that's when you will see it is off, because it's going to affect you mentally. And
Yeah.
and when it does, then it
Yes.
comes in your body, whether it comes to a disease, whether it comes to several chronic pains or breast cancer or any craziness like that, right? it
Yeah.
will it will come through your body if you do not release. So we just want you
Yeah.
to take a moment, watch the things that occur that triggers you, pay attention to
Yeah.
them, write it down, and learn how to balance yourself out. Okay.
And another thing that you could do to help yourself with mental health is having people to talk to.
Yeah.
And once again, this is not about oversharing and just running into random people on the street or people that that don't have a front seat in your life and share things that you can't trust them with. But hopefully, if you have people that, you can trust, have people you can talk to so you can talk things through. Doesn't have to be deeply personal things, but just to say, I can call Marsha up and say, man, I'm just having this kind of day today, you know,
Mhm.
and I was feeling, and just talk about the way you're feeling. And sometimes it just becomes, then you realize you're not alone. She was like, yeah, I kind of felt energetically, I was feeling this way as well. And then you realize you're not the only one. A lot of times, the mental health situation is created by you. You're in isolation
Yeah.
and feel like you're the only one.
Yeah.
And it helps when we share. Like I said, we should share each other's burdens, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
But have people that you can talk to, or get yourself into groups where you can connect with other people, maybe like minded, maybe not, but have
Mhm.
some kind of way to deal with stuff. Even if it's a social group, right?
Yeah.
It's a way to break up the monotony of thoughts, break up those same thought patterns and take you out of isolation and take you out of your head. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have people, whether you join a social group or have one person or a group of people. I'm blessed to have 7 wonderful women that I can pick up the phone call, and
Mhm.
talk things through with and know that I am heard and I am also not judged for
Yeah.
whatever I'm thinking or feeling in that moment. So create your sacred spaces with people that you can trust that will hold space for you, right?
And then one of the great things about doing that as well is, you're giving in the other individuals the opportunity to share what they see in you that you may not see
Yeah.
in yourself.
True.
And yes, and that may be something that you were kind of down on yourself about, you never give yourself credit or kudos about. And if you never had that circle, if you never stepped out of your comfort zone and say, I'm going to start going into a safe space with other individuals that I can be myself and speak freely. And if they didn't share their feedback with you, you wouldn't recognize just how awesome you are. You would recognize
True.
the thing that you're about to give all that power to is not deserving of your power, honey, because your power is yours. And that thing is not what controls you. You control it, right? And so that's one of the gems in the beautiful way God created us so that we become each other, our brother's keeper in a way, or so that we can find comfort in each other and don't be
Yes.
selfish about it. So I pray that those of you who don't have that space, who don't have that safe space, that few individuals that you can just breathe and be you with, I'm praying that you find that this month. I'm praying that for
Yes.
this month that you find it and that it resonates with your spirit and that you can recognize some of your great qualities, some of the great
Yeah.
things about you that you fail to see when you look in the mirror because you're so um bombarded or so focused on the not so great aspects of who you are. And we have to learn to embrace everything. And I want to share this before we close out. So this is kind of like our soul gem here. When I first started my journey, and I used to get a lot of affirmations from my teachers and just keep them. And this is one that I got from Miss Jamila as well, Jamila Franklin. And it says, Mighty I am presence, come forth here.
Oh, yeah.
Silence the human nonsense mentally and physically
Basically.
forever now. And you can repeat this 3 times daily, morning, in the morning, preferably. And it says, Mighty I am presence, come forth here. Silence the human nonsense mentally and physically now. Repeat this every day, calling back who you are. Silence that nonsense, that human nonsense. We are spiritual beings. So I hope you understand the human nonsense part. The one that says, I am not enough. That's the human nonsense part. The
Mhm.
ones that says, I have to be like such and such on social media. The human nonsense part,
Mhm.
right? Help us to
Mhm.
step into who we are and who we are called to be. So
Mhm.
I implore you, I encourage you to say this every morning, especially for mental health month, whether or not you go through it or not. I would encourage you to say this every morning for the month of May. It's a beautiful affirmation. And just see yourself releasing the silence of the human nonsense and
Yes.
stepping into your presence, your spiritual domain, you, your temple. Okay. We love you. We love you over here on Her
That's
Sacred
good.
Soul Space.
We
And
do. We do.
until next time, remember, see your light, be your light. One love.
One love. What good.